You are listening to the B.I.G Show with your hosts, Calvin and Garland. The B.I.G Show is a weekly breakdown of the sports world from a fan's perspective. Here are your hosts, Calvin and Garland.
It is the big show.
Yo,
And
we
we're
in
back.
third spring.
Yeah, man. Hey, man. Had to take a
Third
week
winter.
off. I unexpected business travel down to Charlotte. So, couldn't quite handle that.
He down there hanging
Who was
out with the
hanging?
Hornets. He was down there.
I was
He
hanging
hanging
with
with the
Duke,
Hornets. He was
the
down
Duke
there.
Blue Devils. Remember I told you
Oh,
I
that's
met,
right. That's right. You're right. That's
the
right.
Duke
That's
Center,
right.
Malik Brown. Look, I was talking all that trash. I said I met him before that opening game. So when he dropped 30, it was because of me. Why the nigga drop 4? He forced
it. Calvin put the hex on the boy.
They barely won too. They barely got out of that. That was their. So they had the 2-round bye. So that was like the third round for them, and they barely got out. But I think they won it all. They won that game. North Carolina lost their semifinal. I think Duke won it all. But yeah, man, we're live on YouTube right now. We're on all the podcast platforms, and when I drop the pod, you will get to see our beautiful faces on Spotify if you have Spotify. What's going on with you, Garland?
Man, I'm feeling good on a Wednesday. We just we're in second winter now. If you know anything about the state of Maryland, we'll go through we thought it was winter, it was fake winter. Then we have real winter. Then we have fake spring. And then we go back to like the third winter before the real spring. And so we last week it was like 80 degrees one day, 75. And all of a sudden it was they closed schools 5 hours early because tornado threat, and then the next day was 30. So we still going through the weather changes and whatnot, but things are well. What about yourself, bro?
Chilling, man. I don't even know what kind of tornado they had coming. We had a couple wind gusts. It was like the big bad wolf came by, and he was like, "Nah, I can't blow this brick house down. Let me just chill." He just took a little, and then was like, "Let me go back to that straw house. I'm gonna eat them niggas up."
It got a little windy. I was hearing a little whistle, like
that was it. Yeah,
it's getting serious. Then it was like, okay, good. I ain't lose TV signal, lights, all that stuff. I charged the phone all day for nothing. So
now I was chilling though, because Monday is my office day, and Sunday night they sent out the email, was like, yeah, if you come into the office, we're gonna close it at 12. My department was like, ain't nobody going down there to 12. Just stay home. Stay home. We ain't going down there for no few hours and shit.
Right. Everything was closed in 3 hours, 2 hours, and whatnot. So it's like, okay, I brought in the trash cans like a good husband and all those good things. So man, we survived, people. We still here.
Hey, we batten down the hatches on the in the yard. We locked down all the furniture.
Yeah, I moved plants and all that stuff. And yeah, definitely. I rather, I guess it's rather to go extreme than to like, oh man, they always lying on the weather and stuff, because they be playing the fair game. They be having you like, oh my God, it's we thinking like, all right, do we need to like go out and get some batteries and get a couple gallons of water? Because the way they talking about this thing, and they, but then if it was worse and people, they didn't have people prepared, then they'd be like, oh, how come they didn't close schools? How come you didn't do that? So, I'm just glad that it was not as worse.
My come on, yo, is kind of dealing with that. You'll see.
All right, man. Well, let's go ahead and jump into it, man. And unless you were buried under a rock over the last week and some change, we're gonna start off, man, with everything that's rocking Baltimore right now. The Maxx Crosby fiasco. And so on March 6th, the Raiders had acquired the Ravens' 14th overall pick in April's draft and their first round pick in 2027 for defensive end Maxx Crosby. And I'll let you know when that thing came across breaking news on that Friday night. I was barely paying attention to TV on the phone. All of a sudden, we start texting. Everybody got excited. The Baltimore fan base was on fire. People was excited. Now, although most were not happy about the team giving up 2 first-round draft picks, something the Ravens have never done in their history, The addition of Crosby was exciting and a much-needed addition to a team that had lacked a legitimate pass rusher since Terrell Suggs and Elvis Dumerville, to be honest. Several days later, that all fell apart. And when the Ravens rescinded the trade based on medical concerns with Crosby's surgically repaired meniscus, the Ravens took back their picks and Crosby returned to the Raiders, and the conspiracy theories began to fly because shortly after the news broke that the trade was off, the Ravens signed free agent defensive end Trey Hendrickson for less money. And so, in addition, man, your boy Crosby was on a recent podcast that's been making all the rounds on social media today and yesterday as well. And that didn't make anything better by insinuating that the Ravens' new head coach, mentor, and EDC were both cold to him when he came to the facility. As a matter of fact, he said EDC didn't even come out and talk to him. And it seemed weird that they seemed to be acting weird when he got to the castle. And so, do you think that the Ravens had cold feet and sunk this trade on purpose? And let's start with that one. Let's start with the most obvious, because this is where most of your conspiracy theorists have been stuck. The running narrative is the Ravens made the trade. They got cold feet a day or two after. They realized that maybe they could not get out of the trade just alone, just saying they didn't want it. So they knew that Crosby was injured. They have him come all the way to the East Coast to be examined by their doctors. And they decided, all right, this is our way to get out of it. They had already been talking to Hendrickson, and that's why they were able to make the move so quickly. And so what's your thought about this, Calvin? We had all the information presented. What do you think?
So first, let me start by saying this, because I tell my crew, I've been telling my crew this since the middle of last season, and they don't be trying to hear it. I'm going to say it again so y'all will understand. This ain't the old Ravens. It's a whole new day at One Winning Drive. We are looked at differently. We move differently. That squeaky clean Ravens, that ain't us no more. It's starting to be some things. What I say is something rotten in the state of One Winning Drive. We're starting to be one of these cutthroat type teams. Now, with that being said, I posted this scenario on Facebook, and I'm going to stick with it because it's true. One day I bought a pair of sneakers. They were like $129. I saw the same pair of sneakers 2 days later for $99. Guess what I did?
You ain't got that receipt?
I'm going to need to take this back. What, can I help you return? You got your receipt? Yes, I do. Anything wrong with the sneaker? No, just not satisfied. Listen, but one of the things you got to remember is that the Ravens inside the rule, they were inside the rules. I completely will take any argument that ethically and with the spirit of the rule, it may not be the best look for the Ravens, but they were inside of the rules. So I mean, you can have your opinions about it, but you cannot say, oh, they should be investigated. They can't be, because they didn't do anything incorrectly.
Correct.
Just
ethically. It's the tampering period. They were free to do whatever they wanted to do. They did not have any contract signed.
And I know they tried to spin the EDC with the it was the long-term effect. They say he might be good for this year, and if you're giving up 2 first-round picks there, you're going to want the maximum out of them. But you knew the guy was injured anyway, which is a possibility of more injury. You also put yourself in a situation where he said we wanted both of them. We wanted Hendrickson when we couldn't sign Linderbaum. We wanted Hendrickson, and we wanted Maxx Crosby, which would have been a monster of a defensive line if that's what they
Our
were.
Heads would have exploded if they were able to do that.
Absolutely. I mean, first of all, when they got Maxx Crosby, Jimmy Seafood and Dundalk went crazy. They were like, "Fuck yeah, dude! We got him. We got them both, dude. Fucking A, dude." Did they say?
I should have checked out Ronnie from Dundalk. I needed to get on my man's
Or
IG page to see what.
Stabby. Is that his name?
Yeah,
Stabby,
Stabby.
baby.
I needed to go to his page to see what Ronnie from
Fucking
Dundalk was
A,
saying.
dude. But nah, man. I mean, it's one of them things where if you're a Ravens fan, you want to defend your team, but we know deep down inside there could have been some cold feet there. And I mean, it's really simple. If you can get a guy that's pretty much better in sack numbers, may not be quite as aggressive, may not be as good as the run, but better in sack numbers, a little older, but you can get him for less money
True.
and not give up 2 first-round picks, which we already know you had cold feet doing anyway, because we've never done it before. That's the one that was probably as big of news as get Maxx Crosby is what we
Right.
gave up for him.
Yeah, that's what's more people were more focused on that. The
Yeah,
fact that the Ravens gave up the 2 first-round picks.
exactly.
More
So
people were upset about that than anything.
if you can get those back, still pay less money for a longer contract. Now remember, Trey is signed for 4 seasons. I think the 4th is an opt-out season, but still it's 4
so it's
seasons.
like a 2-3 year contract.
Yeah, I mean,
reality.
you most people are mad. The only person that needs to be legitimately mad is probably Maxx Crosby. I don't think Raiders fans are real mad because I think they would rather have Crosby back. So I don't think the only people that are really mad are people whose team aren't as savvy as our team.
Right.
they not EDC savvy. So
right. I you know what? I liked your analogy, and I came up with an analogy too. It's like buying a house. You are buying a renovated house. It's been worked on. You go in, you love the house. You and the owner, y'all negotiate a price. You agree upon the price. You put a down payment on it. You start your due diligence. As part of your due diligence, when you're buying a house, you should have a home inspection. You do the home inspection, and you realize that there are a couple things wrong with the house that are major. The roof needs to be replaced, and the foundation is cracking from water damage, and you need that fixed. So you go back to the owner and say, hey, I still want the house, but are you willing to come down on your selling price, or can you fix these 2 things and I'll buy it? And the owner says, well, no, I don't want to move from my selling price, and I'm not going to fix these things. So what do? Do you go ahead and buy a house that you're going to have to spend thousands of dollars on to repair in the next year or two? Or do you keep on looking and you go find a house that might be a little bit cheaper, and you don't have to do those things moving into it? And hopefully you do the latter. And that's what the Ravens did. They were putting up a lot of assets for a player that you can't have him sit out the first 2 or 3 games. He can't go into training camp and you talking about you're going to put him on the injured reserve to start the season, and he can't play until week 5 or week 6. This is a person that you have to put on the field immediately. And they said,
now you got to have him on the field for 2 years. He can't even get injured the next season.
Right.
It just no.
Yeah, he has to play 17 games each year. And so that possibility, you're putting up that much of an asset for that, yeah, it makes you have a pause. And so I don't think there was any great conspiracy that they already knew in advance that they didn't want to do it. But I think they did their due diligence. They brought the man over, they took a look at him, they consulted with some people. Allegedly, they went back to the Raiders, and that's the thing, because the Raiders, and I have to give this to them, even though I don't want to give it to them, they're playing it smart because they really haven't said anything. They basically have been radio silent outside of putting out the statement that the Ravens took back the picks.
Well,
we have not heard anything from them.
And we ain't gonna say nothing else about that shit.
They said they backed out. All the heat has been on the Ravens. And so, that's smart. That's wise. But, allegedly, from what EDC said, they went back to the Raiders and said, hey, we still want them, but we want to change the compensation. And they said no. And so there you go. Where this, they're not going to stay stuck there giving up 2 first-round picks for a guy that possibly may not be on the field to start the season. And so, I think it was wise. I think, all these conspiracy theories, and especially now with that podcast interview that dropped, I just wish people would get over it. just wish it's over. The Ravens saw something that said, no, we can't do it. People, well, if it wasn't for that amount of money, they would have passed them. It doesn't make a difference. You're giving up 2 first-round draft picks.
That's the tough one.
That's the tough part.
If they were giving up a third and a fourth or 2
right.
fourths or something like that,
yeah,
they probably would have kept them. Yeah, it probably would have kept them. But that's the sticking point. 2 first-round picks. You're saying to your team and your city and your fans, we're not going to have a first-round pick for the next 2 years because we're getting this one guy. No, and let me say, I think everybody should get over it. However, I'm not mad that Maxx Crosby came out and spoke because it was his turn to speak, because he was the one that hadn't said anything really up until that point. So I gave him grace on speaking. Now, some of it was spilled milk, in my opinion, with the whole, well, we had to drive 2 hours from DC because there wasn't a flight going straight to Baltimore at the time. Like, yeah, okay, maybe it wasn't, but if you've ever driven from DC to Baltimore, sometimes it could take 2 hours to get.
Might feel DC like that sitting in the traffic. Yeah. I've driven to Reagan before. You weren't driving no daggone 2 hours. Okay,
it could, depending on the time of day and the route they take.
Now,
but the
thing, if it was around rush hour, you might have been sitting in traffic trying to come up 295.
But the thing is, that's a lot of. Were you complaining about that then, or were you so excited to get there that you didn't even realize? Like, it's one of them. I get it. Let the man get his piece, and then he hit the whole, well, they didn't talk to me. It was kind of weird. Yeah, it's absolutely going to be weird. You ever gone somewhere and something happened? Everybody's going to be weird to you. You know what I mean? Because they don't want to tell you, because it may not be their place, or they may have at that time. But here's a great one. You ever been fired from a job and everybody know you getting fired except for you?
Bruh.
And then everybody's treating you a little, even your homeboy, like, yo, you good? Yeah, nigga, what?
I've been fired from a job, came to the office, everybody knew except me, and people up in here ain't really talking. Hey,
exactly.
Why people ain't talking today? What's going on?
Maybe that was his first experience like that, but it happens, Max. I mean, you just can't, Of course, EDC ain't gonna see you. He know he about to tell you can't be here. He don't want to be all buddy with you, because the worst thing you can do nowadays, being a young man, is being buddy with somebody and then breaking the news to him later. Then you'd be like, well, why the fuck you acting like we all cool and shit? You know what I mean? You kicking it with me. Then
that's the part that kind of rubbed me a wrong way, Calvin, is okay. So what if they did come out and they was all embracing you, dapping you up, talking all this stuff, and then they come back and say, hey man, we saw some stuff on the film. We really not thinking about we thinking about not going through with the trade and everything, and they changed their mind. How would you feel then?
And they butted me up just to tell me this bullshit. They're a bullshit, phony ass organization.
Right.
Of course, they're gonna be a little standoffish. Like, they could have probably told you right then and there, but I'm sure they had a plan of the way they were going to tell you. Because I mean, believe it or not, it's probably tough on them also. I know it's business, and like we always talk about, it's family first. So their obligation is to the team, not to your feelings. However, they still wanted you to be on the team, and they understand this is a tough conversation. So they probably had a plan like, yeah, we're just gonna have to wait till we get concrete word, bring them in. And even he said they didn't give him a definite there. They said, we saw some things and we're going to have to reevaluate this. Right. So it's not like they told you right then and there you aren't on the team. So, I mean, I get it. And he has every right to be mad. Let me not act like Crosby don't have a right to be mad. He has every right to be mad, to be perplexed, upset, whatever it is. But I will say, even after his conversation about the stuff that I think is crying over spilled milk. I will say it seems like he's taking the high road where he's like, I've always I wanted to be a Raider anyway. I wanted to stay here because you got to ingratiate yourself back with the fan base again. And, you dedicate, you just move forward. You know what I mean? Now, luckily, we don't play the Raiders this year because that motherfucker might get 15 sacks in one game.
Well, I'll say this. If the trade went through, then he would have been super happy to be in Baltimore.
Absolutely.
He would talk about he loved crab cakes and all this other stuff. And so, yeah, what I would do. Now, I never forget, man, a preacher came to my church. This was years ago. And he said, smoking is not a sin, but it just don't look good. Talking about how Christians, we claim to be holy. Drinking is not a sin, but it just don't look good. Some things that we do to kind of compromise ourselves. Now, what happened with the Ravens? I don't think they were crooked, but you're right. It just don't look good. What happened? It just don't look good. And so does this soil the reputation of the Ravens? Now, of course, we're going to talk about the free agents in a minute that they signed. I mean, it didn't stop them from going out and signing Hendrickson and a couple other people. But overall, do you think this soils the reputation of the Ravens?
So anyone that's not a fan of any team, you're always going to go back and reference that. But this is business and this is the NFL. They move on. How many people hated the fact that Michael Vick was fighting dogs until he played for your team? But then now people even still refer to him, oh, dog fighting ass nigga. You know what I mean? It's one of them things where and we all do it. You know what I mean? We all do it. You refer back to something, especially if you don't like the guy, if you have something you want to say negative about him. But the Ravens are not the only team that have done something maybe a little shady. I mean, they still doing business with the New England Patriots, and the Patriots were stealing signs. You're still doing business with the Houston Astros. The Astros were stealing signs. Like, there have been a lot of egregious cheating and stuff going on in sports, but you move on, like, because you can't stop doing business. I'll be damned. They're going to talk about, well, yeah, they're going to start. It's going to be hard for EDC to do business. Let him dangle another first round pick somewhere for somebody else. And let me see a team like who thinks. Let me see a team like the Cleveland Browns say, no, we ain't gonna give you our star, our third string wide receiver for that first or second round pick. Because we ain't like the way you treated the Raiders. Get the fuck out of
here. That's not gonna happen. Calvin, I'm not naive enough to think that butter doesn't melt in the mouth of all of these teams. I'm sure they've lowballed people, they've cut people, unjustly. They've made moves that have been right along that gray area and stuff like that. And so I'm not saying the Ravens are, the epitome above all these other franchises. But yeah, let's slow down on the, the vicious intent and all this stuff. Let's just let it go and move on. I mean, no, it did not look good. EDC said it, this was painful. But he, as a steward of the organization, he made the right decision, because again, if it goes left, they made the decision despite the film to keep Crosby, and he breaks down. He does not get on that field. The cost is going to be looking for a new job that next season. So
we're going to be called. The fans will be calling for his head immediately.
Right.
But wait a minute. Hold on. Now I will say the Raiders are going to hold a grudge. So if somebody becomes available and we try to get them, now the Raiders may hold a grudge with us, but I don't care about anybody else. But wait a minute.
It'll be all right.
How? Just let us know that you hung around old people without letting us know you hung around old people. Gall and holler. I ain't naive enough to not know butter melts in everybody's mouth. What the hell? What the hell kind of watch out there now saying is that? Oh, Tom Joyner listening to your ass nigga. Y'all thought he was just going to let that shit slide by. Oh, Randy Dennis ass listening to 103 niggas. Oh, Tim Watts ass talking
Right. Russ Parr, nigga.
Russ Parr a little before that, a little after that, rather. A little after that. You down there with Lee Cross and shit. You with WEBB.
Right.
Oh, rough side of the mountain ass church singing ass nigga.
You ain't right, yo. Sorry. All right, he gonna try to recover. All right, man. Good luck with your new team. The Ravens lost 11 players in free agency so far, Calvin. Some of the notable signings that happened over the last several days. Tyler Lindenbaum, he went to the Raiders. He signed a record-setting 3-year deal with them worth a reported $81 million, a whopping average of $27 million per year. He needs to thank his agent. Well done, young man. Isaiah Likely. You would thought Isaiah was the second coming of Kellen Winslow and Russ Francis and Rob Gronkowski all rolled into one. He agreed to a 3-year, $40 million deal with the Giants, with reportedly worth up to $47.5 million. It slots just ahead of Mark Andrews in the tight end salary pecking order as the Ravens signed their franchise leader to a reported 3-year, $39.2 million deal late last season. And Alohi Gilman, he signed a 3-year deal worth $27.75 million with the Chiefs. He helped the Ravens stabilize the secondary after coming to Baltimore in a swap for pass rusher Odafe Owe and day 3 draft picks. In addition, you had Draymond Jones. He signed with the Patriots. 3 Ravens signed with the Giants in addition to Isaiah Likely, Pat Ricard, Ardarius Washington, and punter Jordan Stout. Charlie Kolar and Keaton Mitchell, they signed with the Chargers. And Calvin's favorite player, David Ojabo, he signed with the Dolphins. And so let's talk about the 3.
He did?
Yeah, he did.
That happened today? Damn.
No, that happened last week. He signed with the Dolphins.
You know, I'm thinking you talking about my guy that the African name got. No, I'm thinking you talking about the Browns guy. I'm totally.
Oh no.
Tight end.
Njoku, he came and he visited the Ravens, but he hasn't signed with the Ravens. And so Lindenbaum, I don't think there was anything that the Ravens could do. We knew that. We already said he was gone the other week when we talked about free agents and all, and we see why. He almost, I think the closest center had a $18 million year deal, and that was Creed Humphrey in KC. And so he got a lot more money than that. And I think he's made way less Pro Bowls and has not played in any Super Bowls, of course. But, your thoughts on Lindenbaum being the kind of centerpiece for the Raiders as they're going to draft. Everybody says that they're drafting Mendoza as with the first pick.
Nigga for the streets. For the streets. He ain't trying to win. He ain't trying to win. He ain't booby. He ain't trying to win. Nigga for the streets. He went after that money. Hey, I ain't mad at him. Like we knew he was going to possibly break the bank, and he broke the bank. Like I've said with any type of offensive lineman, less with defensive linemen, but kind of close. But any type of offensive lineman, they can be the highest paid player, the centerpiece of your team, but what they're not going to do is excite the crowd. Most fans don't even really know the techniques to look for. They just rely on the stats that other people give them to say that this is a good player. And I say that because part of football is it's entertainment, and you're trying to fill seats. I'm telling you, ain't nobody coming to see Tyler Linderbaum. I mean, I wonder if there has ever been any offensive lineman that who has high jersey sales other than your family and your friends. Like
That's a
you know
great
what I
question.
mean? Like you want somebody that's going to excite the crowd and somebody that can do something tangible. Offensive linemen do all of the intangibles that are necessary, but
Mhm.
you're not moving the fan base with that other than them just saying, hey, yeah, we got one of the best centers in the league. If you have an average center, you may not even notice the difference.
Sure. I think that with Lindenbaum, I like to see what linemen do after they leave Lamar. Because Lamar covers a multitude of sins because he's able to
That's true.
avoid the rush a lot. You had a couple offensive linemen leave to go get some good money without Lamar. Not that to say that they did not have stellar seasons after that, but most did not. They were okay, kind of back down to average. Not hating on Linderbaum because I think he was a great center for the Ravens. He was able to
Mm-hmm.
really flow in the offense that they ran. And so we see what happens in Las Vegas. Now, likely, the thing for me with likely and a likely signing is one, it does give him the opportunity to be the number one. I think that was maybe his motivation for not taking the Ravens deal last year because reportedly what they signed Andrews for is what they offered
Mm-hmm.
likely. Okay. And he really didn't get much more. He probably thought the market was higher for him out there. And really the market was just around where they offered him, which Mark Andrews signed for. So, six in one hand, half a dozen in another. I know that's an old saying too. You know, it does give him that chance to be the number one, but he basically could have got the same money here in Baltimore. But good for him. What are your thoughts on likely?
Yeah, so he was the heir apparent, but he wasn't the heir. And come on, Ravens fans, we're acting like
Right.
Isaiah Likely was,
Like
oh my
ripping up the
God,
league.
yeah, like he was just killing it, and he was just being held back, and he needed to break out. One of the things, just like I talked about with the Ravens, they're going to do business with the Ravens because it's a game. We forget that Isaiah Likely
Mhm.
did some
Mhm.
things that we all kind of side-eyed, celebrating before the touchdown, getting the ball knocked out,
Mhm.
fumbling, dropping balls, doing things, even that play that
Mhm.
the NFL came back and said should have been a touchdown. He kind of celebrated before he actually tucked the ball in. So
Mhm.
we kind of forget those things about him that we side-eyed him for. Now, I do agree that he should have been the one getting the money. And I think most of us, if you have any type of tight end knowledge with the Ravens, you want Isaiah Likely to take over for Mark Andrews, and you would much rather have the younger guy, the more agile guy. But Ravens draft tight ends very, very well. They have a history of
Yeah.
drafting or getting free agent tight ends very. So let's not act like they can't recover from losing Isaiah Likely. I
Right.
mean, let's calm down, Ravens
Calm
fans.
down.
It's not
Calm down.
that big of a deal. It's not as big of a deal as we're making it.
Mhm. I thought that Gilman would have a better chance of coming back to Baltimore because he played in Mentor's system
Yep.
in LA. But that's probably of the signings that I wish they could have kept because they gave up Owe. But Owe, it was kind of like a wash. Owe really didn't do anything here. He got to the Chargers. He had a flash because he's playing with Khalil Mack and on a very good defense. And so that really helped him out a lot. But, no problems with Gilman. He just couldn't tackle. That
Couldn't
was his
tackle.
problem. He could
Couldn't
not
tackle.
tackle. I believe we're going to talk about some signings in a minute. As a matter of fact, let's go ahead and get into it. Jalen Hawkins. As a matter of fact, a lot of people said this is a great signing for the Ravens. He signed a 2-year, $10 million deal. He was a 15-game starter for the Patriots last season, and he led them with 4 interceptions. He also has 71 tackles, 6 passes defended. He had 1.5 sacks and 5 quarterback hits. He earned the 12th highest Pro Football Focus grade among all starting safeties. And so this guy, he ranked high. He's going to give a mentor opportunity on the back end because they play a lot of zone on the back end. That's why they needed, people like Hendrickson and Crosby to win these one-on-one matchups in the pass rush because they don't blitz a lot within his system. McDonald did not blitz a lot in his system. And so this kind of like negates that Gilman signing and gives you somebody that most people feel good about. But let's talk about the big signing, Hendrickson. 4-year deal with a base salary of 112 million and a max of 120 million based on sack incentives. He's 31, but he's coming off the most productive pass rusher available on this year's free agent market. He posted 17 and a half sacks in back-to-back seasons in 23 and 24. 24, he led the league in that total. Since 2021, he's ranked second in the NFL in pressure rate and fourth in sacks. A lot of people saying he's coming off an injury, 31, but he's put up the numbers. What do you think about the signing?
Yeah, man, it's an excellent signing. I think we all were in the mindset of it's either Crosby or Hendrickson.
Sure.
Yeah, man, he's 17. You cannot overlook 17 and a half sacks 2 seasons. But here's the thing. We don't even need 17. You know how many we needed last year? Maybe 7. You know what I mean? We just needed something that was going to help change the game, help close out games. So this is a great signing. And yeah, he's not great on the run because he's a pure pass rusher. Okay,
Right.
that's what we need. And we have a defensive-minded head coach that's going to figure out a way
He'll figure
to
it
get
out.
him back in that backfield, and we'll handle the run on with other people. He's not a 3-down backer. That's what they talk about. But neither was Kyle Van Noy, and Kyle Van Noy did his thing and he was older. He was a lot older.
Right.
So yeah, man, I think this is a great signing. You can say what you want about him. Those that are like, well, he ain't Maxx Crosby. No, he's not Maxx Crosby. He's Trey Hendrickson, and he has more sacks than Maxx Crosby. And that's what we were looking for. We weren't looking for the tackles. We were looking for the sacks, and that's what we need.
Yeah, we needed someone to close out games. We had leads going into a whole bunch of games, but we're not able to close out those games because we couldn't get to the passer on the other team. And I think this really addresses a major weakness that the Ravens had. They had no pass rush, and it hurt them. And so here's a guy that's going to be healthy. The Ravens, they seem to figure it out with players who've come, maybe a little dinged up, a little older, put them in positions that, they're really going to thrive. And I think he's going to thrive in this defense. Also, the Ravens signed guard John Simpson to a $30 million deal with a $10 million average. It's a reunion for Simpson, who had a breakout season in 2023 in Baltimore, in which he started all 17 games. Simpson, who's 28, was a top 10 starting guard in the NFL in 2024 with the Jets, according to Pro Football Focus grades. But he has a major problem with penalties, a lot of false starts, and a lot of holding. What do you think about the signing of bringing Simpson back? He's probably going to take Falale's spot or Andrew Voorhees.
Yeah, well, real quick, I was really disappointed that Draymond Jones is gone because I think we talked about this. If we had a premier pass rusher on one end, you got Draymond on the other. That's gonna so that disappointed me. John Simpson, listen, man, with the guard play that we had last year, they could have just stuck a statue there for me. As long as he faced the line on when the ball is hiked, it was just like Falalo, whatever. He just didn't know. Anything is an upgrade. Now you got to chill on the false starts, and if you notice, Ronnie Stanley chilled on his false starts last year.
Yeah, he got
remember
better.
he used to have a problem with that. You got to work on the false starts. Now we do have I think they got a new offensive line coach now. You do have a completely new offense, so I just believe firmly that things are going to fall into place for this Ravens team this year. So yeah, improvement. That's all I care about. An improvement. It's an improvement over Daniel Falale.
All the free agents to get away. We signed a couple back. Chidobe Awuzie, signed
Mm-hmm.
him to a 1-year deal worth $5 million. He played in 14 games, including 5 starts. Broke up 7 passes. He had 43 tackles. Among cornerbacks who played at least 20% of their snaps, Awuzie had the 13th highest Pro Football Focus grade in the league. I'm sorry, Jay, I got to throw out some statistics. And we resigned everybody's favorite backup, Tyler Snoop Huntley, Calvin's boy, all pro Tyler Snoop Huntley, to a 2-year deal worth up to $11 million. And so, Calvin, what do you think about those 2 re-signings?
Definitely, Cheetah Bay, you had to get him back, especially because you started losing some of your experienced cornerbacks. Plus, you never know what's going to happen with Marlon. He could still be, I think actually he might still be on the trading block. I'm not quite sure, but you had to get him back. But Huntley, okay, he's earned that. We talked about that in the chat. He's earned that. I think you and I were pushing for getting Anthony Richardson. Get Anthony from the
Right.
Colts. Let
You
him
were
back
pushing for
up.
Anthony Richardson.
I was pushing for him. I was pushing for him. I think being under Lamar, you know what I mean. He's young. Being under Lamar, the offense doesn't change if he comes in. But Huntley earned it, not because of his Pro Bowl prowess, but he earned it because he showed us something last year that we had not seen from him. He went to 2 teams and then came back, and his backup status, he played well, man. He won the Bears game, he won the Packers game. I mean, he's earned that, man. So go Snoop, because you know how I feel about Snoop Huntley. I took the Bengals over him in the playoffs because I was like, that boy's a bum.
Yes, they need to change Snoop to Tyler Teeth Huntley. Tyler Veneers Huntley.
Bro, he got the biggest, whitest veneers I've ever seen him. When he's calling out the cadence, you got to cover your eyes because it's flashing. When Kanye say like, flashing lights,
and they're just like, hello. Hey, what's up, y'all? I'm back. Looking like the Nutcracker.
Yeah.
My 40! Shit!
Not the Nutcracker.
Looking like the Nutcracker. Man, you anticipating EDC in the front office making any additional moves before OTA start?
Before OTA, wait a minute. When do OTA start? I'm looking at
probably in another right after the draft, and so late.
Yeah,
April.
I'm looking at possibly some smaller moves, but I'm looking at them making some moves either draft night or June 1st. June 1st is when a lot of these guys become more available because they're not, the cap hits are a lot less. So I'm kind of looking at that, but I don't, just in general, I don't think the moves are completely done. I think there's some things that the Ravens are still probably working out behind the scenes. Njoku being one of them. They know they need another pass catching tight end. The Ravens do like to carry 3 tight ends, one blocking strictly, one
they signed a blocking
superstar.
tight end last week that played in Chicago under Doyle.
Yep. Somebody that understands his system that he trusts. So I think they're gonna look for another combo tight end such as the Isaiah Likely that they've had. So we'll see. But I don't think the moves are completed, and I think they might make at least one more big splash or two, one more big signing or two, or trade or two.
Yeah, we'll see. They had to go ahead and use the void year to open up the money for Hendrickson and Simpson so they can sign a couple free agents. You got to have some money for the draft, for your draft picks, for your free agents. And so maybe there is, there's a couple guards that are still out there, some offensive linemen. Maybe we'll see a defensive lineman out there. Van Noy is still unsigned. You never know. That might be a training camp invite. You never know. In June or July, you might see him back in the fold. And so we'll see what happens as they head into the season. And I'm sure we'll do a little draft special as we come up on the draft. Let's talk a little baseball. Congratulations to Venezuela. champions of the world. They won the 2026 World Baseball Classic with a thrilling 3-2 victory last night. They clinched their first WBC title behind brilliant pitching performances and big hits from William Abreu and Eugenio Suarez. Although they made the finals, the U.S. team struggled mightily with its biggest stars, Bobby Witt Jr., Bryce Harper, although he hit a home run last night. That was his really only big hit of the entire tournament. And Aaron Judge coming up short at the plate throughout the tournament. And so is it fair to say that on the biggest stage, Aaron Judge choked?
So he's not going to come back and haunt me down at Camden Yards. So I'm not even going to
Oh, he's going to hit 20,000 home runs at Camden Yards.
That's that's Jay's friend throughout the World Baseball Classic. Jay was like, I'm starting to like him. He throwing out people from right. Man, fuck Aaron Judge.
Hey. One throw out, Jay. You ain't see the other one where he dropping balls during the season and people running on him during the regular season.
Fuck Aaron Judge. But let me say this, just as we're starting to see in basketball, and actually basketball, we're not starting to see it, we've been seeing it. America is not a superpower in some of these major sports any longer.
Definitely.
The world is not catching up. The world has caught up. And they are putting out formidable opponents in sports that have originated in America. Baseball, we call America's game. Naismith invented basketball, and the world is taking over. The one thing the world is not dominating in yet is football, but they are bringing flag football to the Olympics, and we shall see if the world can dominate in flag football, because it's a totally different game than contact tackle.
Well, Calvin, I'm gonna say this: the only real teams I count in these World Baseball Classics are like the Venezuela, the Dominican Republic, Japan, but I don't really count Italy or Great Britain, any of the other little small, because they got American players. I mean, what's his name? Thompson played with the Warriors.
Clay,
his brother, Clay Thompson's brother, who plays baseball.
He playing Canadian, doesn't he?
He played with Great Britain.
Oh, great!
But the father, their father is from the Bahamas, and so he played with Great Britain.
Well, isn't it the Brazilian
American guys? The Italian team, they had Americans on there. There wasn't nobody coming over there from Milan and Sicily that know how to play baseball. And
isn't it the Brazilian team that's full of Japanese players? I think it's the Brazilian team that their whole roster is Japanese.
Yeah, come on, bro. And so it's like, all right, man, y'all gonna stop playing in our faces like we don't see that. You got Mookie Betts because his mother Italian playing on the Italian team because he don't want to play with the American team. So
that's Mike Tirico's favorite team, though, isn't it?
Yeah, Mike, he's Italian, the big Italian, and so I know he was really pulling for them in the series and stuff. Also, man, I think this is kind of apropos as well because on January 3rd, the U.S. Successfully conducted a military strike to capture Venezuela's president, Nicolas Maduro, and his wife, Cecilia Flores. They were transported to the U.S. and charged with crimes, while Delcy Rodriguez, Maduro's vice president, became acting president of Venezuela. And so Maduro and Flores remain in U.S. custody. The team spent the tournament avoiding comments about the situation, but it weighed on their minds to the end. And so, there was a lot of people, and Calvin, you raised this last night on the text line of, the big ugly American mad because they're Venezuelan fans in Marlins Stadium more than American fans, and that's all you could hear. And what do you think about that? How we just think these sports are ours and nobody else can celebrate?
Hey man,
in our
first
places.
of all,
not our place, because I don't subscribe to that, but Go ahead.
Wasn't it Venezuela that brought them what they call it, them Azulos with them horns to
Vuvuzelas.
soccer? Yeah,
Yeah,
to the
Vuvuzelas.
World Cup. Yeah, I heard a
Yeah.
few of them blowing last night. Hey man, first of
Mhm.
all, you're in Florida, you're in Miami,
They
and
have the largest Venezuela population in the U.S.
if you want a mixture of Latin Americans, South Americans, that's where you'll see it. Now, if you won't see
That's
it
right.
anywhere else, you will see it
Right.
down there. So, first, you need to chill. If you've ever been to Miami, that's pretty much all that you see down there. I mean, just chill out. And what's the problem?
Right.
So now you're in an opposing stadium because you want it to be your home stadium. You know what you can do? Get better at playing, because you know what you tell black people when we talk about there's not a lot of black people playing baseball. Get better at
Mhm.
playing. Y'all
Right.
get better at playing. Y'all
Right.
so get better.
Right.
Get better at playing.
Right.
You don't want them
Right.
taking over your stadium? Buy the tickets. Get better at playing. We not on your side for that one. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like
Right.
I personally think it's hilarious. Yeah, I think it's hilarious. Y'all sitting up there mad, jaws tight. But when
Mhm.
Bryce Harper hit that home run, boy, it was like the rodeo down that motherfucker. Yeehaw! America! America! USA!
Yeah,
USA!
I've seen so many flags wrapped around people like it was coats. Yeah, America.
Let's
Yeah,
go!
let's
Let's
go.
go!
USA, red, white, and blue. Man, you better get out my face.
Trump forever!
They was saying that. Yeah, so congratulations to Venezuela. I mean, I think this is a
Congratulations.
tough time.
It was good to see
Mhm.
baseball though. It was good
Yeah,
to actually
yeah,
watch
it
some
definitely
meaningful baseball.
some meaningful baseball. People were really into the
Yeah,
games,
yeah.
and it's a great start to kick off the coming season in the next week
Yep.
or so. So,
Totally
congratulations to
agree.
baseball, because y'all normally get this wrong, and actually fell and got right for you guys. And so, all right, man, let's go ahead to the part of the show that everybody loves. Come on, yo! And so I'm gonna pass it to you, Calvin.
Hey man, like I said, let me get on this real quick, because I know the weather is always the cause of a whole lot of angst with people. The weathermen are never right. By the way, happy retirement, Marty Bass. Not the biggest fan of
Yeah,
yours,
Marty Bass.
but you've been around damn near all my life. You know what I
For
mean?
real, for
So
real, for
shout
real,
out to
for
you.
real.
You had your problems,
Yeah,
and you are terrible at calling the weather. But hey, man,
yeah, yeah.
shout out to you.
Yeah.
Happy retirement. So we get a lot of things. Now, here's what gets me. Of course, we get the people that run and buy everything up, and then nothing happens. So we're all complaining about you ain't got to buy. They're just trying to scare you, this and that, this and that. The people that really bother me are the parents. So why did they close the school? It ain't even do nothing. They always closing the school. They ain't do nothing.
Mhm.
You do realize that if they keep schools open and that tornado hits, your first thing is going to be, why didn't they close the schools? You rather be
Mhm.
safe than sorry. Plus, come on, yo, parent your own kids. Like, goddamn, if they're calling a tornado watch and schools stay open, guess who's not sending their kids to school? Me. Me.
Mhm.
Now, granted, my kids are old as shit, but I still wouldn't send them to school. Even when they talk about tornado watches, guess who jumps
Right.
on the text and say, is everybody safe? Like, do you have to go to work tonight? Do you have to do that? Because parents care about their kids. I don't sit back and let the government make the decision, the local government make the decision whether my kids should go to school or not. It's all fun and games. All when we were younger, we always had to go to school and this and that. Yeah, and that's all true. But that one time where they don't close the school and a hurricane or a tornado warning and something happens, you'd be ready to sue. You'd be, come on, yo, stop it.
Mhm.
Stop it. If you don't, here's another thing. If you don't like the way that schooling is happening, there's always homeschool. You can always homeschool your kids, but no, you don't want to do that. Sometimes I firmly believe people actually dislike their kids. Now, I'm not going to say you hate your kids, but I think people dislike their kids. And between the hours of 8 a.m. and 3 p.m., you don't want to hear mommy or daddy from nobody. This is my time. Especially, my mother used to do that to me. When she was off, She said I used to always try to play sick because I wanted to be home with her. She was like, "Oh no, sir,
right?
Get the fuck up out of here,
right? Let me get this tussing in your body. You getting up out of here?
You getting out of this motherfucker?
Where the ginger ale at?"
Well, come on, yo. Let's administration trying to keep your kids safe from any type of weather disaster that could possibly happen. Just the slightest percent chance is good enough for them to shut down the schools and send your kids home.
Yeah, you know what? It's crazy. When my wife was teaching before she retired, typically she taught kindergarten, and so kindergarten would have a graduation, but although they had graduation, school was still open. So technically, the kids could still come to school. And she said it never failed. Every year, even though the kid was done, there was no really quote unquote teaching taking place because they already had graduation. Parents were sending their kids, some parents were sending their kids to school every day until the end of school. Why? They ain't want them kids at home.
You getting out of here. Especially toddlers too. Oh, right. You getting the fuck up out of here.
You getting out of here with your 5-6-year-old self. You ain't staying up in this house all day.
Your mouth too smart. All you want to do is eat candy and climb all over me. Right. You getting out of here.
She definitely was like, yeah, no, y'all getting up out of here. And I agree with you. If they didn't close schools, everybody be calling Project Baltimore asking for Chris Paps. And so that's a local Fox station. I don't know if we got nationwide reach, but we're going to assume we do. And he does all these exposés on the local school systems. And so they would have called Chris Paps camera talking about schools should have been closed.
And speaking of reporters in schools, hey man, rest in peace, Tim Tootin. I don't know if we've ever said that. It's been some time
did.
now.
Yeah,
okay,
Pastor
but
Tim.
Rest in peace, Tim Tootin, because Tim was the man. How many times you got up and you sat there and watched TV waiting for Tim to tell you if the school is closed or not? Or you looking at the ticker tape while he talking? Mm-hmm. Right now, Baltimore City schools. No, this is what Tim would do. Tim be like, Howard County schools are closed. Harford County schools are closed. The Hereford district is closed. Baltimore County schools are closed, and Baltimore City still open. Let's get it together, Baltimore City. Like Tim would call it out. Tim ain't play.
Tim ain't play. Trust me, I came from the era they never closed schools during inclement weather. If you want to know more, Alice Penderhughes was her name. She was the school superintendent when I was in high school. And I never forget, one day every school system in the state was closed because of inclement weather. But the only one that was open and on time was Baltimore City. She never closed schools for any reason. And the crazy part I used to hate about her was she would get you out. They would get you out there to school. You get to school, and then they close school in the middle of the day. They closed early, and then wouldn't send any buses back. So either you had to wait for the regular bus, or you had to walk home. And so, people you mentioned Alice Penderhughes to anybody over the age of probably 50 and older, they will start cussing.
From my understanding, this just from my understanding, the reason that Penderhughes was so adamant about kids going to school is because Baltimore City kids, unlike any other school district in the state, Baltimore City kids rode public transportation.
Yes.
And as long as public transportation
transportation could move, they believe you could get to school.
You could get to school.
Yeah, and that was crazy. Anyway, all right. Come on, yo. Come on, gas prices. Got no sense at all. These gas prices, man. But you know who fault it is, and I know the Israel and the United States has gone to war with Iran, and I read today that the Department of Energy, department head, the head of the Department of Energy did not think that the war would affect oil prices, and they did not have a security plan to secure the Strait of Hormuz. I'm learning more about geography than I ever knew before about that area. But for you people who did not vote, y'all were listening to Ice Cube, and Ice Cube told you to sit it out, or you were listening to Kanye or somebody else told you to sit it out. But now you can't put no gas in your Hummer, or you can't put gas in your Honda Accord or your Lexus. You want to know why? It's because you didn't vote. You didn't vote. Those people who voted for Trump, I hope your car breaks down. But for those people who were apathetic and just didn't vote at all, you paying for it. You see, you thought, it's the lesser of two evils. Well, the one evil got in there, and he's doing all the evil that he can. It's Calvin. Sometimes I'm scared to turn on the news because, man, I'm tired of seeing Donald Trump. It's like someone said the other day that I follow on social media. She was watching the Academy Award show, and she said that there was no energy at the Academy Award shows because people were just tired. The world has made people tired. It was just like, just give me my award. No protest. Nobody had nothing smart to say. No snappy stuff. People are just tired because every day you wake up, there's some new drama from the White House, from DC. It's just, yeah, man. Hey, and guess what? We got a couple more years to go. And so it ain't over yet. It's about to get hot. He really get crazy in the summer. So, just wait till the summer comes and it's $6, $7 gas. Let's see what's happening then. All you travel people that like to jump on TSA, I got pre-check. Okay. All right then. All right. It sounds like Denzel. All right then. Let's wait. Yeah. I know you want to drive to Florida this year. Go to Disney. It's gonna cost you a grip. And so come on, yo. We I don't know where we going as a world, but we'll see what happens. I'm sorry to bring such a depressing end to the show, but yeah, gas is high.
I mean, it is what it is. The big beautiful bill, those people that it benefits, they can afford gas. It's you all that voted for him that can't.
Yeah, Jeff Bezos and them can afford gas, but white people, they're starting to get mad. They're starting to get mad now.
If you're listening to Ice Cube and not voting and all, guess who else can afford gas? Ice Cube can afford gas.
Ice Cube.
Can you afford gas?
Ice Cube can't afford gas though. All right, man. Hey, everybody. Thank you for listening to our show. We had a great time. We'll be back hopefully next week. Everything will be is opening day next week.
Opening day is the week after. No. It is next week. It's next Thursday, the 26th. It's a week from tomorrow, the 26th. All right.
And so yeah,
we'll be down there.
Yeah,
we'll be down there for opening day.
I hope you gotta give me some seats in the row that I want to sit in. We ain't gonna say why, but yeah, no,
you're not. Right now, you're not.
Come on, man, make something happen. Make something happen, Captain. Make something happen, Captain. Please. Please.
Let me play this outro for you. Expose yourself.
Make something happen, dude.
Hey, man.
You have been listening to
Just get me in a good
show
seat,
was
bro.
produced and written by Calvin
I already
Coates
warned
and Garland
I
Thomas
just
for
wanted to-
All
the warning
Things
was
Black
sent out.
Productions.
A warning
Follow
was
us
sent
on
out.
all of your
And I
podcast
said,
media
when
platforms.
you see him, just tell him to sit down. Hey, man, later, Garland.
Peace.